هنائي حين ألاقي في الجنة صحبي ورفاقي فرحين بنعم الخلاق يا ذا المن.
I mean, I say this jokingly, but the reality of it is I grew up with cartoons and movies. Many of you grew up with cartoons and movies. That's just the reality of our times. So everybody here knows who Batman is. If you don't, make wudu and make 2 rak'ahs. Right? So everybody here knows who Superman is and Batman is and Spider-Man is. And we know these stories. We know what, if you don't know who Tom and Jerry is, then, you know, seriously, what kind of Muslim are you? So we know these things. Fortunately or unfortunately, that's most people's reality. We are familiar with film. We're familiar with the entertainment industry. And there are some things that all of you are familiar with. There are some really creative writers, creative filmmakers nowadays who begin a movie with the final scene. The first scene of the movie is the last scene. It already tells you how it's going to end. The guy's falling off the building, and a voiceover, you might be wondering how this happened. Here's my story. And then the screen turns black and it says 2 hours ago. And then the whole movie goes on, right? So you're still sitting there like, well, I already know what happens. The guy's gonna go splat. You know? Why do I need to sit there for 2 hours to find out he fell off a building? You're still interested in what? Not the conclusion, but the journey. It caught your interest. I'll tell you a little story about the greatest movie ever made. Kung Fu Panda 2. Let me tell you something. So who's the villain? Peacock. Peacock. Very good. MashaAllah. Make istighfar afterwards. It's okay. We'll do it together. We'll do it together. This is a peacock. Peacock sees a dream. Peacock sees a dream that a creature of black and white will destroy his kingdom. And he orders all the pandas to be killed. The wolves go out and go after every panda. And there's a scared mother. She takes her baby panda and she puts him in a basket. And then she puts the basket in the river. Yep. If you watch the rolling credits at the end, the basket is floating in a river. And that's how it ends up in a place that sells noodles and learns to, yeah, all of that. Wait a second, does that sound familiar? Where did they get this amazingly creative idea that a king sees a dream that the empire shall fall, so all of them should be killed, so a mother saves her child? This is completely unheard of, right? This is a really original story. No, it's not. And they don't say at the end of the movie, special thanks to Moses, and like they don't do that. They just steal the parts. These stories are so powerful, you'll find millions of dollars being made off of them even today. Even today. When I was younger, some of you are not that old, so you don't know, Lion King. Right? Lion King. And those of you that know, alhamdulillah, okay, good. Make extra donations to the masjid today. So, the thing about Lion King is, this little cub, Simba, accidentally killed his dad. And he was given advice. What was the advice given to him? Run, never return. Get far away from here. Get out of here. Musa alayhi salam will accidentally kill someone, and guess what? Get away from here, never come back. And when he goes away, Simba goes away, grows up somewhere else, finally he gets hit with a what on the head, if anybody remembers? Oh my God, so obvious. He gets hit with a staff. And then he sees a vision. And the vision says, go back and claim the kingdom. They steal directly from the legacies of the prophets without even telling us. And we don't even pay attention. We think, oh, what an awesome story, man. That was amazing. Made me cry. Like, you know, honestly, it's all around us. They're taken all the time. Bits and pieces are stolen from the prophetic legacies all the time in entertainment. In modern entertainment, without giving any credit. SubhanAllah. That's a very creative way of telling a story. Now, there's another special kind of story. You know, they make genres like drama and, you know, a thriller and action and comedy. And a particular genre is adventure. There's a particular genre of storytelling called adventure. This is in literature, this is in film, it's been there for thousands of years, right? And in an adventure, a lot of times, they will begin with a monologue. Long ago, there was a king. Usually, you have to have a British accent if you want to have a monologue in the beginning. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? So, they'll have this monologue in the beginning, and they'll basically walk you through what's going to happen in this story. There was a king, he was very oppressive, he killed many people, but a hero shall rise among them. you know, and etc., etc. And this is just the intro. This is just the intro. And in that intro, it actually summarizes the entire adventure, doesn't it? In like 30 seconds. And then when the intro closes, the screen turns black and it says, 30 years ago. And then the movie actually begins. You understand what I'm saying? You do, because you watch a lot of movies. Okay? Now these are modern film techniques. But what I'm here to share with you today is actually these are not modern film techniques. A lot of these and more to perfection have already been used in the Quran thousands of years ago. Centuries ago. And way better than any filmmaker ever will. Way better. I was teaching the same class, I remember, in Minnesota. Yeah, I know, Minnesota. And about 1,700 people were there in Minnesota at a convention center. And a few of them, Muslims, are film students. They're doing their bachelor's and their master's in film production. At the end of the story night program, they came to me and said, we learned about 20 techniques of filmmaking and movie making. We were cross-checking which ones you are going to cover. And we went through all of them, and there were 5 more that we've never heard about. There were 5 more that we've never even seen, that you mentioned. And I was like, I never studied film. I never studied film. This is just how I studied the story itself. SubhanAllah.